now we're at kind of an exciting part of the build where we can kind of start seeing what it's going to look like. And basically I can put the decking on, but I made this platform a little bit bigger than I originally planned on. So these are my decking planks that I'm going to reuse. Well, they're too short to cover the whole distance. So what I'm going to do is put a filler one in this way, but I've got to put in some framing to attach these boards to let them rest on. So what I'm going to do now is cut some blocking and stick it in here so I have a securing surface to screw these boards to. Okay, so now we got our blocking where when I put this board down like this one here, I can attach both these boards. There's something installed under there, so that should work good. And then of course, the main stringers, ledgers, whatever you want to call them in this case, will take the brunt of the load. And what I'm going to do right now is just kind of figure out where I want the boards to sit and possibly overhang a little bit. Now, this is the long board I have that will go right over here. To make it fit, all we're going to have to do is cut notches around these 4x4 posts. And so I'm going to take some measurements now to get an idea of where to put those notches, and then set this in place, and then deck the rest of this. To get my notch cut, what I do is I get this board in place where I want it lengthwise, and then what I did is I took just kind of a straight edge here and marked a line like this, and then basically that will mark where I can cut the width out, and I did the same thing on the other side. Now we got to figure out how far this is, and that we can pretty much do with a measurement. And just kind of look at my measurement there. It's 3 1/4, so I need to take 3 1/4 out. So I've made my 3 1/4 mark here, so we'll cut 3 1/4 out, and then we'll cut this block out. We'll do the same thing on the other side. And when I start these cuts, I'm going to start with the circular saw, and then I'll finish it up with the jigsaw. Now to see if it works, I've got cuts on both ends, and we're gonna try to slide it in here like that. Beautiful. So now what I'm gonna do, so I'll go ahead and tack this down. I'm gonna use 3-inch deck screws because that's what I have. They don't necessarily need to be that long for these shorter boards. That will work. So I'll put some of those down, get this tacked in, and then I'll do the rest. And then after I get everything down, I'll come back and screw everything off.
But we have an orange tree that we have given every plant from at Lowe's and Home Depot for Mommy. And we picked flowers for Mommy.
So I've got most of it decked off, and it worked well. I had the straight edge down already, so I could just butt these up, and it kept everything relatively square. It's a nice short distance. Putting 2 screws on each side, and then I'm hitting these joists in the middle with 1 screw. I'm able to reuse some of the old holes, which is great. But as I get to the end here, I'm realizing the boards aren't going to match up exactly. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the notches for my exterior board, put that in, and then I'm going to rip 2 boards to make them a little bit skinnier to fit the remaining space. See if this one fits, and just cut the notches, go around the post. Fits great. I'll tack this off. It's about 8 1/2, and it's pretty consistent. So what I'll probably do is rip 2 boards at 4 1/4. Okay, so this is the last piece. And what I did is I ripped 2 boards down to make up this space. It was about 8 1/2 inches, so these are roughly 4 1/4 wide each. And I soften the edges and then put it in there. Voila, we have ourselves a little tree house. So I'm just gonna finish screwing this off. I'll put a couple screws here, 1 in each middle stringer, a couple over here, and we have ourselves a real basic tree house. Be mindful, this is a dead tree stump. At some point it will rot, so we'll keep an eye on it. But we're able to build this cool little tree house with recycled wood from an old play set, and I think we'll get a few years use out of it. So pretty stoked about it, and Hope you all enjoyed, learned something. If so, thanks for watching. Consider subscribing. I'm Joe Kistel.